when we land overseas, especially overseas. I don't know why. It's maybe because the guys were away from their families, but it seemed like they got wilder. And we'd land in a country or something, and the first thing the guys would ask when we'd land is, they'd be looking for us for strip joints and for drugstores and for, when Jimmy Hart and myself were looking for gyms or for or things to go visit, like shops that we could go visit during the day. And it was like, so it was those years where there was no limits to what the guys would, the drinking and the pills and it was like, it was so easy to get. It was almost like everybody had a connection in every town somewhere where they'd have I remember the guys just walking around with especially the Bulldogs were the worst. The Bulldogs, they Dynamite Kid, man, he was the wildest one I've ever seen. He'd come walk in the dressing room with a needle in his butt, and he'd be walking around for the boys like, "Oh, I'm gonna have a good fucking time tonight," and then he'd have a needle in his butt going around like that. And it was a pretty scary situation for a guy like me, But anyway, all that to say that it was a wild time. I called it those days. I always, people always looked at me and they said, "Wow, you're so lucky to go around the world like this and that and traveling like that." And I was saying, like, if only you knew what kind of jungle we're in. Like, it's a jungle. It's prehistoric men, in suits. That's what it was, to be honest with you. And if you weren't part of the clique, if you didn't show up in the bars that night till 2, 3 in the morning, then you were an outsider.